Hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we have an amazing topic, and thank you for all amazing registrations and for all your questions. Yes. So good evening, everyone. And the topic for tonight is abusive and toxic relationships. And as I mentioned, we received a huge number of amazing questions. And many questions were about how to recognize if a relationship is toxic or even narcissistic or abusive. This is one thing. And the other question was, what does it mean that a relationship is toxic? We can call it toxic, abusive, or even narcissistic. How can we recognize? And it's not just romantic relationships, but it can be family relationships, friendships, work relationships as well. Okay, so, and the whole thing goes back. What is abuse? And we go one step before, just to have some clarity why people use abuse. Okay, so you as an infinite being, your very nature is continuous expansion. And what it truly means that naturally we are looking for always expanding the space we are functioning from. That means, like, really anything in any direction. It can, like when you are a child, friendships, studying, sports, all areas, or your hobbies, your creative time. Later on at work, people are looking for to create something greater. This is totally natural aspect of the infinite being. What it does, as looking for something greater, it continuously expands your space, the space that you are functioning from. And when your space is expanding, what it means, however, you have a body, you're infinite being, but you start to expand with your being into a much greater space, like beyond your body, and you start to include not just a greater, let's say, physical zone or territory around you, but you start to step into different dimensions of this reality. And sooner or later, everyone starts to connect to the different energy flows of their choices. So it's like you start to read the energy, consciously or unconsciously. So people start to be lucky and really successful in whatever they are doing. And for most people who are, let's say, who sort of like not functioning from this, like those people who are not functioning from this because they already went through some kind of abusive or toxic situations, for them it's let's say it's really intimidating, so they don't like it. And there is one tool that they learned how to stop you, because they learned, because this is what happened to them. So they start to play this game with you to stop you. Because if they stop you, if they start to abuse you, actually, it's not the abuse itself, not what they do itself is what stopping you, but the reaction you give to that action. So actually, the victim will be the person who stops themselves. And the victim naturally starts to contract the space they are functioning from. So they are not that successful, not that happy, not that joyful anymore. And they start to sort of like become less. This way, they are not unstoppable anymore. And this is what the abusive people or toxic people want to reach, to make you controllable. So they can control you, or at least you become less than them. So you will not make them remember that greater possibilities are also available. So here comes, let's say, the definition of what is abuse. Actually, it's any kind of action. It can be verbal, it can be physical, it can be emotional or mental action that has a target to make the other person less, to disempower people. This is the main thing behind abuse. And this is abuse, disempowering others to make them less than who they are. Especially in a romantic relationship, it's about how to control your partner, not to help the partner, how to control the partner so the partner will become less, so you can play games with your partner. You can feel again, like if you are the abusive person, you can feel again that you are a winner. That's it. So, and of course, it has different levels of intensity. Some people are really harsh, really aggressive with their games. Some people are, playing all the time at low level of intensity. Just say a word, just make a facial, impression to make you feel that you are less, you are not that great, you are not that successful, you are not that valuable. So this is abuse. And this is what toxic, abusive, or narcissistic people are doing. And we could look into that, like why they are doing this. Why, like what happened to them when they were kids or whichever age. But let's focus on something else now. Like what you can do to change this. Because one thing is that, for example, narcissistic people are really good at finding your weak spot. That means they can find your weaknesses. They can find your spots that are sort of like your emotional areas, your deep wounds, or the areas where you've been hurt. That if they sort of like start to play on that area of your life, start to mention things in those areas of your life, then you suddenly bring your shields, your guards up, and you start to become less. You contract yourself as a reaction. From one approach, if you really look deep into it, you could say that you have to be grateful for this. I mean, of course, it's not a good thing, but during your life, like people can hurt you without an intention to disempower you. Like it doesn't have to be intentional. Let's say by mistake or by being unconscious to what they are doing. Like it wasn't a deliberate action or let's say, motivation behind it. They just did something to you and you started to bring the wrong ideas next to it. So you started to attach fear, doubt to the whole situation. And later on, it's become stronger in your reality. Like you always start to react to it the same way. Maybe you've learned somewhere this reaction. You learned from your parents, from your friends, from your colleagues. You learned it maybe in the kindergarten, at school, wherever. It doesn't mean it works. It means this is your response. This is your reaction to such situation. But originally, again, it doesn't have to be like if people hurt you, it doesn't mean they want to abuse you. Okay? But if people are deliberately hurt you, that's abuse. When they hurt you just because to make you less, just because to disempower you. And, misleading others is disempowering them. Telling them lies is disempowering them. It's abuse. Okay, there are many forms of abuse. There is like physical abuse, there is emotional abuse, there is mental abuse, there is financial abuse, there is spiritual or religious abuse, there is self-abuse that you do to yourself. There is also gaslighting. And of course, let's say there is household abuse, like that people do at home with each other. Yeah. So, okay. And so what's next? Let's say you've been abused or you are in an abusive situation or you are in an abusive relationship. First thing that would really help to recognize this thing that, again, everyone has, let's say, their own level, like a fine line, that if the abuse is less intense than that, they don't recognize it. Just because everyone around us says this, like, this is part of life, you have to get used to it. Let's say you go to your workplace and your boss tells you that, however, work time is from 9 to 5, but you have to stay longer hours if you want to hold on to your job. That's already abuse. Okay. And you go home, you go it to your friends, to your family, and they say, oh, you have to get used to it. This is the word. This is the adult word, because this is what happens. You are not independent financially. Your boss controls your finances. So if they say something, you have to bow down and say thank you. Okay. So this is how people, the whole society, your environment, teaching you that abuse is normal. Like below a certain level, it's normal. However, there is no level of abuse that is normal or acceptable. None of that. It's still abuse because it will make you less. It's like, if you know the story of Superman, that truly powerful, let's say, being. And there was a thing called kryptonite that was like a mineral from the home planet of this guy. And when this kryptonite was brought close to him, he became truly weak, like weaker as a human being. And abuse is sort of like the same to the infinite beings. It makes you disempower yourself, actually. You contract yourself, you stop yourself, and your capacities, skills become less and less. Okay. So the first thing would be for everyone to recognize it, that whatever is the level, the intensity of abuse, it is still abuse. Because there are nations where they truly get used to abuse. Like for them, it's normal to live at such kind of life where the government the neighbors, and everyone is abusing each other. Okay. And the other thing is to sort of like to learn the different forms of abuse. That abuse is not just sexual abuse, or it's not just physical abuse. Abuse is as well emotional abuse. One example for emotional abuse is when your parents, your mom tells you that if you don't do this, then I don't like you anymore. This is emotional abuse. Or there is mental abuse when the parents tells the kids that you are too young for this, you don't understand it. So you just, in other words, you are stupid. But later on, you know, elder people or people who, let's say, spent more years, they have more work experience, they can tell to newbies, like new starters, that you are not as smart as I am because I'm here in this position for 10, 20 years. So you don't know how things are going here yet. In other words, you are stupid. This is what they say. This is mental abuse. Also, financial abuse. I mentioned that example at the workplace that they say you have to stay longer hours if you want to keep your job. There is also spiritual or religious abuse, the story about the sin or the story about Adam and Eve, where all women are made wrong. They are, that's a spiritual religious abuse. Also, there is self-abuse when you get used to punishment and then when you think you do something wrong, you start to rather punish yourself to avoid being punished by others. So even if they don't recognize you did something wrong as per their rules, you start to punish yourself. And yeah, there is gaslighting as well. Gaslighting is a really, really special version. They combine everything. They not just sort of like disempower you, but they play until you are so disempowered that you don't believe in your five senses. Like even if you see them doing something with your own eyes, you would question what you see because you can't believe that they are doing such thing, because by that time you are so abused, you are so contracted that you don't even believe in your own senses. So it's like, and also they blackmail you in your, in front of your friends or your family. So let's say the first protection line, like, the people close to you start to believe that you are insane, you are the wrong person, and so on. Okay, so these are, let's say, the main forms of abuse. And once people, let's say, start to recognize these forms of abuse, then whether it happens in a relationship or at a workplace, they can really see it clearly. Whether it happens at a very high level of intensity or a very low level of intensity, they start to recognize it. So this is one part, like to have clarity about the theory. When you get the theory, then you start to recognize it around you. Because first, we need to really recognize it, what's happening around us. If you don't recognize it, then you will keep questioning their actions. It's like, let's say you have a friend, and because of the definition of a friend, like a friend is someone who is helping you, who is there for you, who is supporting you in all situations, like they always next to you or, holding your back. This is sort of like the definition of a friend, that you can share your secrets, you can talk about anything because they are friends. And if a friend does such thing, any form of abuse, because in your mind, this person is a friend. It just doesn't make sense. You won't believe yourself that why this person does certain things. So you would question yourself. But once you recognize all the different forms of abuse, then you sort of like start to become aware of what's true. And you become aware of that, okay, until now, I thought this person is my friend, but I have to recognize that they are abusive. They're not supporting, they're not contributing to me. And the same can happen in a relationship. When you believe your partner is your partner for life, therefore you can trust them all your secrets and any emotions you have. They will not use it against you. And once you recognize a person is abusive, again, it really empowers you, because from that moment, their actions start to make sense. The same way some people have this situation with their parents, where the parents keep abusing them. And of course, you would never think that a parent can do such thing, because again, by definition, a parent would never do such thing. So it's really useful to recognize who is abusive around you. So from that moment, you can put people into their position. Like in your reality, you will put them into the right place where they belong to. So from that moment, you will be, let's say, more conscious and more aware of their tactics, of their games, of their things that they are playing with you. Okay. If we would stop here, that's just to let you know, it's not enough. Because the next thing, what happens that they already abused you. They already been toxic with you. And as a result, what people do is two things, at least. One thing is that as you disempower yourself as a reaction to the abuse, you start to take out your capacities, like certain capacities that was made wrong, certain awarenesses, like part of your awareness that was made wrong, and your capacity to be aware that was made wrong, you sort of like explant, like take out from yourself, from your reality, and start to avoid it and start to lock it out from your skills, from your power, from your capacities. So you start to become less. But this is your action. This is not what they are doing. This is your reaction to the abuse, to make things work. It's like if someone tells you from the space of authority, and sometimes a friend is someone who we think or we look at them as authority. An elder person, again, it's authority. A teacher, a policeman, your boss is, again, an authority. Your parents, your grandparents, your partner, again, authority for you. Therefore, whatever, if they say you are wrong or your awareness is wrong, you didn't see it clearly. Let me tell you what happened. This wasn't the thing you think it is. Like, I was not cheating on you. You just think. I was just talking with that person to discuss the weather forecast. They are telling you you are wrong. And because you think they are authority, you try to believe. So therefore, to match this reality, because an authority told you something, you take that part out of you that made you become aware of it. You take it out, and from that moment, you don't have access to it. You become less. And again, you start to take on programs like implants on you that sort of like replaces that missing part of awareness with these delusions that they are telling you. So from that moment, like from the very beginning of any abuse happened to you always take out one part of you and you always put in something that will not work for you. So you sort of like replace the good parts with bad parts. It's like you take your car to get it fixed. However, the car had no problem and they replace the good parts with useless parts. And after a while, you have a car that's not really working. Like this is what you will become. Your life will not really work because your awareness, your personal power, your capacities starts to become less. You can't really live a useful or successful life for yourself. So therefore, it is not enough to simply recognize those people who are abusive. Because another thing that also happens that you also lock the energy or the vibration of abuse into your body, into your reality. Just imagine that this generates the vibration. Let's say it generates a vibration that I'm wrong, I'm wrong, I'm a failure, and so on. And it first, it makes you wrong. But it generates in your mind as well this kind of approach to anything that you are wrong. But also it starts to invite more and more people who are abusive, who are looking for how to further abuse victims, people who are weak. And you were made weak by the abusers. Because even if you break up with that person and you broke up like many years ago, or you left your hometown, so you cannot meet with your parents, with your friends, like all the abusive people around you, or if you go to a new workplace because the previous one was really abusive. So it doesn't really matter if you change an environment, because abusive people are everywhere. So changing environment will not help you because it's like a huge flag above you and they start to find you again at the new place. At a new relationship, you will find the same kind of partner. A new workplace, same kind of boss, same kind of people. Even if at the beginning it looks all good, it's good because you cannot recognize them. And a new relationship will be the same. New friends will be the same. You will sort of like invite these people with these energies or implants vibrating that in you. And so this is the big thing to remove it from the body and from your whole being, from your whole energetic and multidimensional reality. And there is also another part, of course, because this is like removing the abuse that you logged into your body. The other part is removing all the implants, the wrong programs, the unnecessary programs, and also take back the explanted capacities, your explanted power, your explanted knowing or awareness that you have to take back. So if you take back those that you yourself get rid of from your reality, then you start to become naturally yourself and powerful, empowered again. And you also get rid of the wrong programming. So you start to get okay again. And as you remove the vibration of abuse and these things from the body and the being, then you will not invite back these people again. So this would be the whole scenario that's required. And yeah. So hope with this, let's say, general approach, we covered big parts of the questions. And okay, there were many questions about that, like your kids, your partner, your friends, your family, someone has been abused and how you can help them. One of the problems is when someone is abused, after a while, they don't know who is truly there to contribute to them and who is a threat. And as they don't recognize abuse or abusive people, they won't really listen. So, because in their reality, they are deeply in that shit. So it would be great for them if they get to a point that they want to change this whole thing, like somehow they recognize it. Especially, imagine that you have a partner, like a romantic relationship, and you really love your partner, but your partner is abusive. And your friends, your girlfriend, your family keep telling you that this person is fucking abusive. How can't you see? And what you will do, you will protect the partner. You don't want to listen to what everyone says because they are wrong. This is my partner. So if you want to help someone who is in an abusive relationship, maybe that person will protect them against you. So what would it take for them to open up their eyes? Yeah. So maybe they cannot receive from you, but who is the person they could receive information? Maybe it's not you, maybe it's another friend, it's another family member, maybe it's a free Zoom intro, or maybe it's a class. Who knows what would help them? Mm, but actually at the maybe you've heard about this, the Your Acoustic Body class, we do a thing, it's called the contribution, which really is something that allows people to become capable to receive from any direction, from anyone, like from even unexpected directions or sources, like receiving contribution. Okay, so one of the other thing is that for this purpose to help people, created a class called Breaking Out of the Prison of Abuse, because it's a prison that we create for ourselves. Like we can keep telling that the other person is abusive. That's true, but we are the ones who make those steps. Like no one can take your power away. No one has that capacity. Truly no one. But if they can seed it into you that you are wrong, you will take away your power. And here's the trick. You have the power. Originally, the abuser thought that you are more powerful or more capable than they are, and they are trick you to believe you are not that great, you are not that amazing, you are not that powerful. And you buy into this lie, and you make yourself less powerful. So the thing is that you have the power to change. You have the power to empower yourself. And so I created this class where I put together all the information about all the different forms of abuse, lots of clearings with that, like the main dynamics of each and every type of abuse. And with the clearings, it will give you clarity about these different forms. And also we have special body processes to remove the different versions of abuse, and even working with toxic relationship, because it's a really complex type of abuse, because there is as well gaslighting, or it's combined with sexual abuse. And, sometimes sexual abuse, it's not just you being raped. Sometimes your partner tells you that you're not capable in sex. You are not as good as you think you are. So there are many forms of sexual abuse, not just that drastic way or dramatic way when they physically sexually abuse you, like. And so what it means, we have specific body processes for that, for the toxic relationships. And as well, there is a process for activating the body's infinite receiving capacity, because this is one of the things we lock down or we diminish our body's receiving, because your body is like your biggest, let's say, partner in this whole reality. This is why, like when you are abused, even in a relationship, when you are abused, oftentimes people start to have all kinds of illnesses, even during the relationship or after the relationship. So your body will deeply suffer from abuse. Okay. And also, there is another process that can help with getting out of being a victim, like from the victim mentality. And of course, we run lots of clearings and there is lots of live facilitation. So anyone who went through such relationships or had such family or been to such workplaces in any environment that was abusive, it can really help them to get rid of these effects. Even there were people who, right at the class get recovered from those long-lasting symptoms. And also, as you learn these, you can help your clients, if you have clients, like working with them, clear the different forms of abuse, run lots of processes and clearings, and ask amazing specific questions to make them recognize what situation they are in. Okay. What else should we discuss? Because the thing is, we received insanely huge number of questions, and I tried to sort of like put together the core to be able to sort of like respond to everyone to a certain level. There is a question if this is in-person or online class. This is a live class, so physically attending. And actually, we are going to have this class, one class in Sibiu, Romania, on the 21st to the 23rd of November this year. And also on the following weekend, we are going to have this class on the 28th to the 30th of November in Liberec, if I pronounce it well, in the Czech Republic. And actually, where else? Maybe somewhere in the Balkan, we are going to have this class as well. And we are happy to receive invitation from all around the world. Like, I'm facilitating this class since 2018. So now it's like 7 years. And really, it was a huge contribution to a lot of people, like all the people. Like I've been to Canada, Mexico, Brasilia, Russia, Taiwan, so many places. Even, New Zealand, of course. And many places in Europe, like all around in Europe, like France, Germany, Austria, of course, Hungary. And this is what really helped the people, that they had clarity about what's happening around them. They were able to recognize the people and the games they are playing, and they were able to work on themselves and get out of this whole kind of situation that they get dragged into, always reacting the same way to all forms of abuse that the abuser was doing with them. Okay. And just one last thing to mention, that there is this thing about, let's say personal development. You go to a class, you have so much fun, there is no judgment, you expand out, and then you go back to your life and it's full of judgmental and abusive people. So whatever was your personal expansion during that class, after a while it starts to fall back because the environment didn't change and you didn't learn, or you don't have the tools to change it in yourself to not react to it ever again. So I would really recognize, if you would like to improve your life, whether it's relationships or it's the financial area or improve your health, to come and join us, attend the class, and that would be a huge contribution. Like that would save you or give you the tools to not fall back ever again to an earlier state, not go back to an abusive relationship with anyone, even with the workplace, and to be able to get out of this so-called prison of abuse. Okay, so thank you so much for everyone joining us tonight. Hope I managed to give you more information about the different forms of abuse and what you can do. And yeah, be brave enough to start to take back your power and change the situation. There is no situation you cannot change. The only thing that is possible, that maybe you don't have the tools yet, or you are so disempowered that you don't believe that you could change it. Because when you are disempowered, you don't have access to your own power and to your awareness. So therefore, you have no resources to use to change the situation. Cool. So I wish everyone to change your life. And really, because the key is that if you are empowered, and no one needs to empower you, because you are naturally empowered unless you are abused. So if you have the tools to get rid of this thing from your life, then you could become again who you are. Like, take back your powers and get rid of all the wrong programming and get rid of the vibration of all forms of abuse. So there is nothing that would hold you back, and you will have the power again to, break through all walls, all barriers, anything, and make your life beautiful, successful, and happy. And this is what we want. Everyone would like to have this, to make a truly happy and joyful life. So if you can make it, so what happens, like we do the class like main English language, and it will be like simultaneously translated into either Romanian or Czech or wherever we have the class. So if you speak English, you can join at any location. Or if you speak Czech or Serbian or Romanian, then come to one of these classes. So again, November the 21st to 23rd in Sibiu, Romania, and the 28th to 30 is in Czech Republic. And hopefully there will be other locations as well very soon. Looking forward to meeting you again. I believe we will come back with different topics about abuse, and looking forward to meeting you sooner or later, very soon. Thank you for the amazing translators and everyone who contributed to this call. And yeah, we will send out the recording to everyone who registered, so you can watch it back and listen back with the translation. Thank you. Have a lovely evening and get out from the prison of abuse. Yeah, with ease. See you.
Hvala.
Bye-bye. Hvala. Mulțumim. Thank you.